Okay, just making sure we're all good here before we get started. Pull the camera up. There's some chatter in the newsroom right now. Yep, we're good. Okay, the mic is good. I'm going to let people join up here. Time is 8:57 on Martin Luther King Monday, Inauguration Day, National Football Championship Day. Lots of stuff going on in the world. And South Texas, the coastal bend, is first stop on a deep south winter storm that's going to track across the Gulf states, the southern parts of the Gulf of Mexico states in line for snow. We're not going to be talking about that outlook. We're going to be focused right here on Corpus Christi. So again, I'm going to let people join up. There's already a question. Are they going to close the bridge? That's a call police make. I have nothing to do with that. We're expecting freezing rain. We're going to talk about everything. So again, it's just about to be 9 o'clock here, Monday. It's January the 20th. And again, we'll be going over all of the trends we're seeing tonight on radar, all of the alerts that are up, and what we're expecting the next 24 hours or so. We're really just going to focus on tonight/tomorrow morning. So Monday night, Tuesday morning, and then a brief mention about Wednesday. But we'll focus more on Wednesday tomorrow after we get through with this wintry precip episode. So I'm only going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes on this. I'll have to get back over and update, make sure everything is good to go on my end before the news starts. Looks like we've got about 500 people on, so good time to start with the maps. So first thing we'll pull up here, the radar. And there are some colors on it that we typically don't see in South Texas, primarily right now the pinks and the purples, freezing rain and sleet, trying to mix in the rain that is starting to pick up now. We're starting to see light showers up and down the 281 corridor. It's been fairly quiet. It's a little surprising for Corpus Christi with respect to rain so far, but it will work in overnight and it will get damp, and we will be talking about wintry precip area wide. So you can see those trends starting to show up on the radar. The pink is the freezing rain. The purple is going to be the sleet mixing with some of that freezing rain, and the green is a cold rain. It certainly is cold outside. 38 right now with the wind chill of 27 in Corpus Christi. The winds are sustained at 22 miles per hour. Whoops, wrong button. Didn't want to do that. Here we go. Yep. Winds are sustained 22 miles per hour, and it's already freezing over in Freer, which we go back to the radar. Just want to show, that's where that freezing rain is showing up. So you see the freezing rain out near Freer, northern Duval County. That is because the temperatures are below freezing, so you have liquid rain that's falling, and as it hits objects, metallic objects, whatever, it freezes on contact, and that's really the thing that we're trying to guard against tomorrow morning with respect to getting the word out that it's possible some roads, primarily bridges and overpasses, do start to become slick. So it's very windy outside. The wind is going to be something we deal with through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. Winter weather or winter storm warnings are posted. These will be in effect through 6 p.m. tomorrow. These might get canceled early. It just depends on how the morning plays out. But area-wide, with the exception of the islands, winter storm warnings, and this is for the possibility of freezing rain accumulations of up to 1/10 of an inch. Some places could get a little bit more, but that's really the thing that could make things hazardous tomorrow morning. as we get up on Tuesday. There's also freeze warnings posted throughout the area with the exception of the islands. As low as 27. That's going to be reserved for Live Oak counties, maybe out toward Freer, maybe toward Hebronville, the extreme western and northern fringes of our viewing area. That's where those upper 20s will be. I think Corpus Christi, we're going to be within a degree or two of freezing. So 30, 31, 32, that's about where I think Corpus Christi ends up tomorrow morning. We're going to go through all of the maps. So I hope I'll get the questions answered as we work through this. There's also extreme cold warnings. That's everyone shaded in the dark blue. The light blue is it's a cold weather advisory. Same type of verbiage, basically teens on the wind chill into tomorrow morning. It's going to be cold, and if you're not in the teens, you're going to be in the low 20s. So expecting very cold feeling air tomorrow morning. The wind advisory is posted also for coastal areas. Everyone in the tan color, wind gusts up to around 45 miles per hour. And that is, again, going to be the real issue with respect to how it feels outside. Teens, this is for Corpus Christi. Wind gusts up over 40 miles per hour overnight. That's going to put wind chill values in the upper teens. Air temperatures likely going to be, just a few degrees below freezing. So we're not talking hard freeze, but freeze, no freeze, that's going to determine cold rain, freezing rain, and there will be a line somewhere that sets up, probably somewhere close to the Oso Bay, like east of the Oso Bay toward the coast, may not freeze, while west of it does. So there's eventually, that line is going to set up, and the places that do freeze, that's where the roads are going to become problematic in spots. I don't think we're talking widespread. I think the icing issues will be fairly isolated and focused on the bridges and overpasses, but still it's enough to create issue. There's going to be a power outage risk. It's hard to say yes, no, will you not lose power? But with freezing rain, it hits and sticks. That's freezing rain. And if it does that on power lines, those get weighted, and with strong winds, you're blowing around more than just the power line. So there is the possibility that there are some power outages, not because an energy company can't keep up, but because freezing rain and high wind is a recipe for power loss. If a tree limb falls on a line, or a line itself gets, weighted down and blown off its circuit, whatever you call that language, that's what could do it. So this is possible tonight and into tomorrow morning, given the wind and that freezing rain potential. We're talking about strong wind. Why is it getting so windy right now? I thought the cold front came through over the weekend. Great question. It's this coastal low. It's sitting very close to us. That feature is going to strengthen overnight, and that's why the winds are going to pick up. That strengthening will also draw in more cold air into the region, which is why, the places that may not have frozen this morning, Corpus Christi stayed in the mid-30s, may have a shot to freeze tomorrow morning as this low drags in the colder air. We get this question a lot. It's a hard one to answer. I finally used the old thinking head up here and just had the idea, why not make this map where it shows the regions where I think different amounts of time for freezing temperatures will be. So for example, that first color you see, notice I didn't color the immediate coast and barrier islands. That's blank, meaning those spots may not freeze. Where exactly that line is, that is extremely hard to answer, but the trend is going to be the closer to the coast you are, the fewer hours you spend at or below freezing. So if you're out in Freer where it's already freezing, talking 12 hours plus of freezing temperatures. It's 9 o'clock or so. It may not get above freezing until 10 or 11, maybe later tomorrow morning out in Freer. Places like Alice, 6 to 9 hours sub-freezing. That includes Mathis, Orange Grove, Beeville, Fowl, Fremont, all these places in that shade of blue. That's what I see. So, Corpus Christi, I think closer to the coast, 1 to 3 hours, closer to the airport, 3 to 6 hours. So it just depends on where you're at. But that's just my solution to trying to answer that question. I know it's an insanely popular one. I get it all the time. And this, for me, I think is the best solution to answer it. So this is the Futurecast now, and it's doing a decent job of depicting where that freezing rain and mixed precip is right now. Keep in mind, for freezing rain, you need the surface, that temperature's gotta be at or below freezing. So what we can do is interpolate, it's a fancy word for saying make the assumption that places like Hebronville, Benavides, not Freer, because we know you're freezing right now, so the model is a little bit off out toward Freer. But everyone else right now is above freezing. So with that, it can't be freezing rain. It's either a cold rain or a mix of sleet and snow flurries are also possible, as we head through the night. To get out in front of the question, no, I don't think we're talking about significant accumulation here. It will be very minimal. Again, the totals, we're talking tenths of inches. We're not talking about snowman creation, at least to my eye, with the wintry weather. As the night goes on, the trend will be for that wintry mix of freezing rain, sleet, or snow flurries. That trend is going to be for that stuff to move from northwest to southeast as the overnight hours continue to unfold. So at this point, 2:30 in the morning, it's possible that Hebronville, Benavides, Freer, Mathis, Beeville, George West, you could be getting light freezing rain on surfaces mixed with sleet and or a few snow flurries, while it's still a cold rain in places like Kingsville, Ingleside, Sinton, Corpus Christi, Rockport. So again, as the night goes on, that line, those freezing temperatures get closer to the coast, and by tomorrow morning, again, it's going to be light. I don't think this is a hugely heavy event. The problem is that freezing rain, a tenth of an inch can cause accidents on bridges and overpasses. Those will be the first spots to accumulate if that is what eventually does happen. Last MLK Monday, similar setup. There wasn't a ton of freezing rain. I believe it was about a tenth, maybe less of an inch. And there were accidents on some of the overpasses in Corpus Christi. I know these aren't everywhere in the area. Primarily they're in Corpus Christi, but think about things like the I-37 bridges that go over, rivers or little roads, under I-37. Those also will be susceptible to icing with the freezing rain. So it's not just the bridges that we all think of, JFK, the Harbor Bridge. And if those go to get to a point where they're shut down, that's going to be a call that CCPD makes. So they're going to be watching. There's treatment on the roads that may counteract the light freezing rain. It's just impossible for me to know, yes, at 7:15 on Tuesday morning, they will shut it down. I mean, I just don't know the answer to that. I know that there will be freezing rain. The totals will be likely in the hundredths of an inch up to a tenth of an inch. Is that enough to do it? Time will tell. So we're getting all these updates. Hey, What's the website link for the school closures? Do you want to come over here and talk? Oh, so I'm just bringing, I think Anna, our digital manager, is going to come over here and say what that link, or could you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat. You just text the word school.
Okay.
To 855 news.
Text school to 855 news.
Yeah, it's
361 area code?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Anna will put that in the chat. Thank you. So that's where all of the closure information that we have into our studio will be. And people are doing this. It's a safety thing. You know, someone was asking me earlier today about their business and whether or not they should shut down. It was a friend of mine. You know, no one wants to lose business. No one wants to. I mean, I liked going to school. I also liked snow days, but you know, you're gonna have to make it up at some point. It's a safety thing, right? So I told my friend, I said, look, if y'all don't have business Tuesday morning and it ends up being that there is a few isolated bridges and you know, it's to the point where an accident could happen and someone would have gotten into an accident had they felt like they needed to go to their appointment with you that morning, you would have feel terrible. So everything is screaming freezing rain. People are guarding against it, and I think that's just the safest way to go about it. You know, our in-house modeling, you see the teens out there on the wind chill tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Almost everyone, with the exception of the island and extreme coastal locations, are going to be in the freezing mode of temperature. And that means that the freezing rain, sleet, or snow flurries all possible. And on the island, above freezing takes away the freezing rain possibility, but it doesn't mean that sleet or snow flurries are impossible. Those two modes, along with cold rain, will be possible in and over the island. So this goes on through about 10 in the morning, and then we start to lose the clouds, and we're going to get sun tomorrow afternoon, and that will cause temps to bounce up to around 40. Depending on what the freezing rain mix does early in the morning, will determine what happens Tuesday night, Wednesday morning on the roads. If it all dries up, no problems. But with skies clear, winds settling, and an Arctic air mass overhead, I think it's going to be a hard freeze Wednesday morning. And when I say hard freeze, I mean temperatures at or below 28 for several hours. I'm like burping up my soup that I had for dinner tonight with cornbread. It's good stuff. But Wednesday morning, that will be the coldest time frame. We're not expecting precipitation, so assuming the roads dry up Tuesday afternoon, there shouldn't be any travel issues Wednesday morning. But this is the time frame that if there are going to be pipe concerns, at least how it looks right now, this is the time where you really want to have your pipes protected. Exposed piping should be insulated, covered, protected. This is the time where crops could be killed. Crop killing freeze. If that verifies right there in the mid to low 20s inland, that could be a crop killing freeze. And pets need to be in. That's I feel like common sense at this point, but I will say one thing about Wednesday morning's forecast is that some of the guidance was not as aggressive with how cold it gets. There's still like a 10-degree spread in how cold it gets. Some guidance is in the low 30s, others in the low 20s. I'm right in the middle right now with 26 in Corpus Christi. So Wednesday morning, we'll be focusing on that a lot tomorrow evening. Tonight, we're focused on the precip, and I still think that it's possible a few tenths of an inch fall prior to the changeover to freezing rain. And again, these totals are not impressive. They're not. But freezing rain doesn't have to be impressive with its totals to cause problems. About a tenth of an inch, even a little less than that, can start to accumulate on especially elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses, for sure on metallic objects like cars and even on windshields, because the metal loses heat a lot more effectively. But not a lot, but that mixture of rain to freezing rain, sleet, maybe a few snow flurries, that'll be in play a lot longer in B, Live Oak, Refugio counties, as well as the brush country. Brush country's like, I think of it like Alice and West, like 281 and West. Some even think Highway 77 in West, but that's where I'm looking when I talk about brush country. And then Corpus Christi, I don't think we see that transition until around 6 in the morning to freezing temperatures, which that would then bring the freezing rain into play. Again, about a tenth of an inch at most. I don't think everyone gets that. And there may be some ice pellet sleet, some snow flurries mixed in there. So we're talking about the impacts of freezing rain. Half an inch is crippling. That would put all of South Texas on hold. You would not be able to go anywhere. You wouldn't be able to do anything. There would be a lot of power loss. We're talking in that left category, the few category. Avoid unnecessary travel. That's with just a trace to a tenth of an inch of freezing rain. Some icy bridges, isolated power outages, basically all the things that we've been talking about here in this video. It's 9:20, it's getting late. I'm gonna have to go back over to the Weather Center and get all of my graphics updated. But roads, right? Tonight, especially north and west, B, Live Oak, Duval, northern Jim Wells, those are gonna be the first ones to start to have issues if there are issues out there. And I think Tuesday morning, that's the time, get your guard up. That's when the most likely time frame will be for icing to happen on bridges and overpasses. So we're going to be watching that. First edition's on starting at 5 a.m. They're going to know. Watch it. They will know what is happening. They will know if the bridge is shut down. They will know if the JFK Causeway is shut down. You're going to know. So watch that tomorrow morning as you get up. There could be some lingering ice into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. If that's the case, still use caution. But with the sun coming out on Tuesday afternoon, a lot of this should melt and evaporate. And when you start getting cars over the road, that also helps with getting the roads drier. So focusing on the overnight tonight and into Tuesday morning for the issues on the road. Hard freeze possible Wednesday morning. Then we snap out of it. Still cold at night, though. We may be within a degree or two of freezing both Thursday and Friday mornings. Inland locations still could have some light freezes. The coldest time frame will be Wednesday morning, though. Friday looks decent. Near 60 is going to feel okay. And then the south winds come back, and they'll be rather gusty into Saturday, Sunday. That brings in more clouds, more humidity. Highs back in the 70s and some low-end rain chances. But for sure, the next couple of days, that's where our attention's going to be. I'm going to get back to the weather area, weather center, the weather cave, get to work. And if you're in town or a KIII viewing area, we'll see you here tonight at 10 o'clock. Let's see if I don't even know what the national championship's doing right now. I'm going to see if I can go catch some football too as I put things together. Stay safe, stay warm.